So I guess Rukia was feeling kind of nervous until Big Brother had to come and save her. This week's chapter, Rukia's character development takes a large backpedal from last week's extravaganza, where it seems as though finally all these things that the character was working towards with this arc, and with the entire series for that matter, of being more so independent, not needing her big brother to save her, because you go back to the Soul Society arc, you go back to all the arcs where Byakuya had to come in and rescue her, and it was always like, big brothers coming in to save the day. The last fight, or the last chapter, pretty much got rid of all of that, dispelled it all, and pretty much developed the character to where she needs to be, as far as like, she's independent now. She's not depending on Byakuya. She's not depending on anyone to save her. And then you get this chapter. Wow. For starters, it was definitely a possibility that he was going to go wall standing. I mean, we've seen the Quincy already beforehand being frozen and then breaking out of it via wall standing. So that was definitely a possibility from the get-go once we saw him frozen. That's why my last review I was saying it's a possibility he can break out, so I'm not 100% sure that the fight is finished. To be honest with you, ideally, I would have liked for him to have broken out of there, and Rukia had to hold her own and fight him out through the end. I wanted to see Rukia go to the end, fighting this guy, pulling out every last stop of everything that she possibly learned in the Zero Division, because this would have given still a valid fight, put up a valid fight on her own, and just showed her true independence of being able to put down one of the threats or one of the villains without Ichigo, without Byakuya, without anybody having to come rescue her. But I guess God's fear made her a bit nervous, because it quickly went from Rukia being on top, Rukia has this locked down, it's the end, Asnod is done, to he pulls some crazy, scary movie shit. Motherfucker was like The Grudge or The Exorcist, I don't even know. I'm not gonna lie, I think this chapter, the good that it did was that it made Asnod even bigger of a threat. It validated him. It gave a little bit of character development to him. It showed pretty much some of his fears. One of them is being scolded by Juha Bach. And I hope that gets elaborated on a bit further. I mean, he has been built up as a threat. First, he defeated Byakuya. Now, seemingly, he defeated Rukia pretty much. If it wasn't for the ending of the chapter, he would have defeated Rukia. So I'm hoping that they elaborate further on him being scolded by Juha Bach. That's one thing that he's scared of. And also pretty much losing his body completely. Now, the scolding thing, maybe it could be from his past life as a human. He was scolded a lot by his parents or something, and that freaked him out, which would be a little bit like, wait, that's your motive? You don't like being scolded? But yeah. And I gotta say, is it just me, or did it feel like there was so many panels that was just like, Kubo, what are you doing? Like, there was one where he's putting this giant, what seems like a web or whatever the case may be. You know what panel I'm talking about. Rukia standing there, and there's just like a bunch of little lines there, and it's like a whole page taken up by these lines, and I was just like, Kubo, you slick motherfucker. You want to save more of the chapter for next week, so you're just putting a bunch of blank panels. I mean, it's not like it's new from Kubo, but goddamn, bro. Try to be a little less obvious about it. And the part of the chapter that just reversed the character development that we just got with Rukia and everything that we saw was when Byakuya Kuchiki arrived. On one half, it's like, oh shit, we're about to get our rematch. Hell's fucking yeah. Woot, woot, woot. Byakuya's back. Cool shit. Even though, arguably, the whole death thing there, we're not going to go there anymore. We're far past that. But this, once again, Nissan coming to save her, is problematic. Because we're at the end, people. This is the final arc. Kubo goes no more after this. This is it. So for Rukia to still be needing to be saved by Byakuya is problematic in and of itself. It's like, yeah, she's badass. Yeah, she's totally powered up at this point. You could totally see that she's, at the very least, probably as strong, I want to say, as Byakuya before he went to the Zero Division, because she forced this guy into going into his wall standing mode, going into his holy form. So, in a sense, yeah, she did advance. So I'm happy about that. I'm trying to look at the positives in there, because as a Bleach fan, I hope you understand where I'm coming from this. As a Bleach fan and as a Rukia fan, I love Rukia, one of my favorite characters. To see this reverse character development is just heart-shattering. It really is, as a fan. I'm not coming off as, oh, I'm a reviewer, I know this and that. None of that bullshit. As a fan of the character, to see this reverse and go backwards, it's disheartening, and I feel like what's going on here, you know? Byakuya showing up is like, yeah, it's cool, we got the rematch and all that good shit, but at the end of the day, it destroys what we just previously built, where it felt like, finally, she's independent. Finally, we don't got to depend on this dude no more. Anybody, she's going in. Maybe she could have had trouble. Maybe it could have been like the Eren fight when she fought the Espada. I believe it was the 10th Espada, and she had to struggle and nearly died, but she won in the end and didn't need any outside interference. Something like that would have been great. Not exactly like it, but something like that would have been great. But you get this chapter, and it's just like, she needed to be saved again. Why? Why couldn't she find a way to do it? But the fact of the matter is, being saved by Byakuya again, it just destroys the character development we just worked up with her. It destroyed the badass moments that we just had, and it's like, fucking hell, man. It's so disheartening as a fan. I'm not angry. I feel heartbroken. The excitement that I had last week, it's like, poof, Kubo took it away. Best case scenario right now? Best case scenario is Byakuya goes in, him and Asnod go back and forth, and it's actually Rukia in the end that has to help out Byakuya to finally put the nail in the coffin to Asnod. That would be best case scenario right now for this character, where it's finally Nichan having to save Nisan, little sister saving older brother. That would be best case scenario, but as far as I'm concerned, this chapter, while it set up some good stuff, gave a little bit of character development to Asnod, those are the best points it gets. First of all, wasting all those pages, I was like, god damn, I flipped through this chapter like 5 times in like 3 minutes. Like, come on, bro. And then that ending, where it's like, yeah, enter Byakuya, good shit. But at the same time, that very moment you see him come to save her, destroys the character development, destroys the independence we built up with this fucking awesome character, Rukia, and it all goes down the shitter. So, I'm conflicted. In essence, I guess God's fear went in me as well, because this chapter got on my nerves a bit. So overall, as a whole, I'm gonna give this one 4 out of 10. Get some brownie points for Asnod's development. Cool, we got the rematch set up for Byakuya and him, but cannot ignore what it does to the Rukia character with what we just built up. And again, best case scenario, she saved Byakuya in the end, and it makes up for this one, because right now it's like, she's saved again by Nisan. I'm sad right now. Let me know what you guys think, first of all, your take on this, her being saved once again. How do you feel about how it pretty much is detrimental to the character development we just previously set up? Again, there's a possibility. I'm not saying that this is the end. Bleach gets a 4. What I'm saying is what this chapter is as of right now. Next week, it could be a 10 out of 10. Next week, Rukia could save the day and show her independence and reclaim it. But as of right now, where it stands, it is what it is. Also, any theories regarding Asnod, why he said his biggest fears is being scolded by Juha, as well as losing his body completely. There has to be something as far as losing his body completely. Maybe it's relevant to his powers, maybe it's relevant to his weakness. It can be exploited later by Byakuya and Rukia if they work together. I don't know if Byakuya needs her to work together with him, because, I mean, he came back from the Soul Palace, so I'd imagine he's just like God mode. And also, this chapter makes me question, what the fuck? Like, how did Byakuya get there before Ichigo? Like, Ichigo better be there already, or like, what? Maybe he used instant transmission. I don't fucking know. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up if you hope Rukia gets some redemption and save Byakuya or some shit. She works together with him and they do some cool-ass collab, because right now I'm like disheartened as a Bleach fan, as a Rukia fan. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. Because right now I'm not.